Hello students, welcome to Immienglish.com, the one-stop solution for ESL examination and immigration services. In this video, we will learn about task 1 of the academic writing module. Any student who is going to give IELTS General, please skip this video and see the task 1 or letter writing module of General exam. If you have any question, then you can raise a topic in the forum, and if you need assistance, then you can buy our premium services. The links are available in the description. So let's begin. Now this is the sample of IELTS academic task 1. You will be presented with an image and few instructions. You read the instructions carefully and then start writing. This is the simplest explanation of the structure of this task, nothing complex. Now let's read the instructions and see what they are asking us to do. Now the pie chart shows the main reason why agricultural land becomes less productive. The table shows how these causes affect 3 regions of the world during 1990s. So this is kind of an introduction of this. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. So we have to summarize this pie chart and this table in 150 words. That's all they are asking us to do. Now you should remember that they are asking at least 150. You can exceed the word count, but it should not be less than 150. Now I'll show you a sample response on this topic. But before I do that, pause this video, analyze this pie chart and table carefully, and then we will proceed to see the sample response. In the sample response, I'll explain you how it was explained and what is the reason why it can be considered as a model answer. Okay, now pause the video and analyze this. Done? Alright. Now before we begin and see the sample response, let us first analyze this figure in our own way. Now it says the causes of worldwide land degradation, and this is a pie chart. It shows that the major concern is overgrazing, 35%, followed by 30% of deforestation. The third major concern is overcultivation, 28%, and others is only 7%. So over here it's something like overgrazing first, deforestation second, and overcultivation comes third. Now this table shows the causes of land degradation by region. This shows overall figures, but this is bifurcated by regions. Now regions are North America, Europe and Oceania. Total land degraded is mentioned over here, and all the 3 categories which are mentioned above. So let's look at this. North America are mostly affected by overcultivation, least by deforestation and overgrazing. And in terms of total land degradation comes at the 3rd position, 5% only. Europe is most affected with 23%, we can see that, and major concern is deforestation, 9.8%. Overcultivation 7.7, overgrazing 5.5. So you see the difference. North America is mostly affected by overcultivation, but Europe is affected by deforestation. Now let's check Oceania. Now Oceania is second most affected, but over here the reason is overgrazing, not when overcultivation is 0 and deforestation is only 1.7%. So did you notice some differences in the data? Europe is most affected with 23%, and major concern is deforestation. Oceania is second. Major reason of land degradation is overgrazing, 11.3, and North America is mostly affected by overcultivation with 3.3%. So notice first, second, third, first, second and third. Are you getting? Now you just need to mention this trend in the sample response. Now let's see the sample response and notice what a model answer looks like. Okay, now the first paragraph begins with the pie chart shows that there are 4 major causes of farmland becoming degraded in the world today. As we already saw, the pie chart described 4 different reasons for land degradation. Nothing extraordinary written over here. Globally, 65% of degradation is caused by too much animal grazing and tree clearance, constituting 35% and 30% respectively. Now, this is kind of a combined figure of overgrazing and deforestation, and then bifurcating it in 35 and 30%. So these two things have been explained in the first paragraph till now. A further 28% of global degradation is due to overcultivation of crops. We can see over here 28% overcultivation. Other causes account for only 7%. So that's it. In the first paragraph it is mentioned that it's a pie chart. The major concern is overgrazing and deforestation with 65%, then comes overcultivation and others. Only this has been explained in the first paragraph, nothing special, and that also in a very simplest way. Now let's look at the second paragraph. These causes affected different regions differently in 1990s, with Europe having as much as 9.8% of degradation due to deforestation, while impact of this on Oceania and North America was minimal. As we saw in the table, Europe was most affected by this, and the other two continents didn't affected much on this particular thing. Now, I mentioned Europe was affected the most by the land degradation stood in the first place. Now over here that same thing has been mentioned. Europe, with the highest overall percentage of land degraded, also suffered from overcultivation and overgrazing. See, the same thing. In contrast, Oceania had 13% of degraded farmland, and this was mainly due to overgrazing. North America had a lower proportion of degraded land at only 5%, and the main cause of this was overcultivation and to a lesser extent overgrazing. Now let's see the conclusion. Overall, it is clear that Europe suffered more from farmland degradation than the other regions, and the main causes there were deforestation and overcultivation. That's it. It's as simple as that. There are no fancy words, nothing. Just analyze the figure properly, and only that has been mentioned. 3 paragraphs are divided properly with pie chart, then table and a conclusion. Got it? Now, if you write such kind of a passage, you will get full marks for task achievement because all the information is covered. You will get good marks for cohesion and coherence because the structure is proper in first paragraph, second paragraph and conclusion, okay, and connected with each other properly. Good marks for vocabulary. If you noticed, some synonyms has been used as well. For example, one thing which I particularly noted was land tree clearance instead of deforestation, and good use of compound and complex sentences. If you notice properly, then you will see a lot of compounds and complex sentences that are joined together, and you will also get good marks for grammar because of this. Now I believe you have got the idea how a good task one looks like and how you need to write. Okay, now let's see one more example. Pause the video, read the question quizzes and try to understand. Now there is a lot of information that is provided in the pie chart, so take your time. Done? Let's read the instructions. The 3 pie chart shows the changes in annual spending by a particular UK school in 1881, 1991 and 2001. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. So in the pie chart, the spending of school is divided into 5 parts. Okay. Teacher's salary, furniture and equipment, resources resources, example books, and other work salaries. Same thing. Insurance, teacher salary, resources, other work salary. Same thing, but it's just different years, and these figures changed with in different years, and that's only we need to compare. Okay, are you getting this? Alright, now we will see the example and the modal answer, and from this you have to understand how you should have wrote this. But before we begin, let me try to explain what is the major differences and what you need to focus. So let's begin with 1981. Over here the major expenditures were teachers' salary, 40% in this particular chart. Then came other workers' salaries, 28%. So in short, the salary was a major concern in 1981. After that, resources and book, furniture and equipment cost almost equal, 15%, and insurance was only 2%. So in 1981, salary was the first expenditure, then came books and furniture. Insurance was least, 2%. After 10 years, the expenditures on teacher salaries increased by 10% and became almost 50%. However, the other workers' salary reduced and became 22%. But if you compare, still it's approximately 72%. And over here it was something like 68%. So in total, there is an increase in the salary expenditures after 10 years. Insurance rose by just 1%, still the least. The resources on books increased to 20%. Now this expenditure got increased, but furniture and equipment expenditure reduced drastically, just 5%. So after 10 years, the changes was increase in salary, increase in the expenditures on book, but decrease in the expenditure of furniture. Now again after 10 years, what happened? Now we see a decline in the expenditure on salary, 45%, and other worker salary 15%. If we make a total, it's a 60%. So it is a reduction, and I would say it's the least in 2001. Over here it's 68%, 72, and 60. So salary got reduced. Alright, now insurance 8%. Again, now we see a reversal over here. The cost of books reduced and was only 9%, but the cost of furniture and equipment rose to 23%. Now I think you can have a little trend in which the salaries, the maximum amount of percentage, salary, more than something like 50% all the times. So salary is the major expenditure in school. After that is something like in 1981 books were only 15%, they increased in 1991 but decreased in 2001. Furniture has a reverse trend. Initially it was 15, they reduced and then again got increased. Insurance, the cost of insurance is increasing systematically. It is not decreasing at all. Okay, so this is the kind of an explanation of these pie charts. Now you should not do it with so much of ease in the exam. You should need to be fast. Okay. The first paragraph says the chart shows how much a UK school spends on different running costs in 3 separate years. Simple introductory line explain that it is showing the charges of annual spending by a school in 3 different years. That's all. Let's see the second paragraph what it says. In all 3 years, the greatest expenditure was on staff salaries, as I explained you. But while other workers' salaries saw a fall from 28% in 1981 to only 15% of spending in 2001. Teachers' pay remained the biggest cost, reaching 50% of total spending in 1991 and ending at 45% in the 2000. So as I already described you, salary was a major concern which is mentioned in the body paragraph 1, that teachers' salaries increased to 50%, then decreased to 45%. Same thing with the other workers' salary. So this is only explained, nothing different. Expenditure on resources such as books had increased to 20% by 1991 before decreasing to only 9% by end of the period. In contrast, the cost of furniture and equipment show an opposite trend. As I mentioned, the cost decreased to only 5% of total expenditure in 1991 but rose to dramatically in 2001 when it represented 23% of the school budget. And similarly, the cost of insurance saw a rising trend, as I mentioned, growing from only 2% to 8%. So these are the things which I described you are mentioned. I hope how you need to find trends and how you need to analyze and the way you need to write it. Nothing different has been mentioned over here. In conclusion, let's see what it is written. Overall, teachers' salary constituted the largest cost of the school, while spending increased dramatically for equipment and insurance. There was a corresponding drop in the expenditure on things such as books and on other workers' salary. Okay. Now, this paragraph is perfect in terms of task achievement as all the figures and trends are covered, good structure, well-connected sentences, good vocabulary and grammar. Now, if you write just like this, you will easily get 7 to 8 bands in writing task 1 for sure. Now you have to practice yourself and improve your writing skills. If you have any doubt, our forum is always available to ask questions. The link is available in the description. Now before we end, let's look at some key points that you need to remember while attempting task 1. As I previously said, this section weight around 33.33%. Therefore, you should only spend 1/3 of time on it. That means 20 minutes and not more than that. Understood? The second thing to remember is that you should write more than 150 words but not 300 as well. Please write within the limit. The third point is that you should not avoid or skip any important point, and also something specific from the instruction too. Keep this in mind, it is really important. Now, if there is too much data, you should know that you can't write everything in 150 words. Therefore, only focus on the key trends and points. There is no need to include everything in the example. It's good if you can, but it's not necessary. One more thing that I would like to include is that you should not focus only on feeding as much information as possible in the task. If there is too much of information, then it is not necessary to include every details. You can skip the minor details for sure. Lastly, keep it simple. Now this brings us to the end of the task 1 of academic writing module. I hope you have found this lecture informative. In the next video, we will learn about task 2 of the writing module in detail. If you like this video, then please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and support us to bring you quality content and tips. See you in the next video. Take care.